All right, welcome to the Lockdown Podcast. Um, so before we got online, we kind of had a good spiel, had a good fill. So we're gonna put this live to your ears from ours. So King of the Ring is in the back now. We are moving forward to other things. So King of the Ring, I would honestly say maybe a B ish. PLE. Not really. There was a lot of botches, unbeknownst to the average, you know, watcher of professional wrestling. Things happen, but the greatness of wrestlers is the fact that they can just flip the switch in a second and just kind of improv it, make it work. Um, so so as far as King of the Ring, before we kind of lay down the matches, um, so there was a lot of things lacking at King of the Ring, which kind of it's confusing how you had no Judgment Day, which for the fact that Judgment Day, talks about running roughshod over, WWE, they were non-existent, with the exception of Dom for all of 5-10 minutes tops. So what did you guys think, before we obviously go down the match card, like, what was your overall, like, kinda yay or nay on King and Queen of the Ring? We gotta be specific.
My opinion was it could have been a little bit better. Could have had a lot more better star power on it. But other than that, I'd give it about a maybe a B or C.
Okay.
Going over what I saw from the matches, and I don't know. I was more interested in seeing who was going to be crowned king and queen of the ring. Everything else was kind of predictable, except for Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. Everything else, I kind of was like, eh, this is an extra episode of Raw.
I can kind of see
Yeah.
that point of view.
And I think that's the sad thing that happens on PLE is sometimes we have better Raw or SmackDowns than we do PLEs.
Hey, at least
And
at least they finally had the women's tag team match
Yes.
titles
Yep.
yeah,
for
I
once.
mean,
Well,
Yeah.
it was the opener, the
yeah, it wasn't
pre-show.
even it was on
You
a
know what?
kickoff show,
Still,
It
which is
happened.
it
downright
happened.
depressing.
I mean, it happened. Yes, they. But we also have to admit that it's who this PLE was for. It
Mhm.
wasn't for the general Western audiences or international audiences. This is for the country of Saudi Arabia. This is part of their business deal. So we don't know what things changed behind the scenes that got us the PLE that we watched. Uh, we don't we don't know, and we don't want to speculate or anything like that, but we kind of do. And
We love to
I think,
speculate.
yeah, I think that the women getting bumped to the kickoff show, at least they were on the card.
Well, I mean, and the thing is too is that these women's tag titles are basically no brand at this point. They don't have one or the other, so that's my biggest confusion. Is the fact that they still don't have men and or they don't have Raw and SmackDown. So like I feel like most of the storylines that lead up to the tag team titles are really just tossed together. Um, because I'm sorry. I hate to bust your bubble, you bunch of Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell fans. They're boring. They're boring. They're always gonna be boring. They're gonna be jobbers till the day they freaking kick the can. Yes, Seth is going on a rant. We're gonna not as bad as the last time I had to edit
Yeah,
myself.
not as bad as the other one.
I had to edit myself out, but like I give them some viable contenders because I'm sorry, Candice LeRae and Indies Hart. Nope, not happening. We all and we don't know how long they're gonna hold those titles. And I think we talked last time about the the long-term story booking of eventually those two are gonna and switch. And then
Mhm.
Light Switch is gonna go, then they're gonna feud for like 6 months, and I feel like that'll be a match at WrestleMania 41. So, but yeah, I mean, so obviously Bianca and Jade won. No, go figure. A slight botch
Right.
at the end, but not the worst botch. That
So, which was the botch that you were talking about? Because
so the
I
botch
thought the
was kind.
finisher for the match was, I thought it was fine. I thought the spot where Indy does like a moon, not Indy, but Candice LeRae does a moonsault onto Jade, and that looked a little messy. But also too, I mean, they're probably pressed for time. Hey, you got to put everything in, in X amount of minutes. So, and Jade is always going to feel to me a bit green, a bit stiff, but always room for improvement. She's not going to get
So
complacent in the ring.
I think that
it was
match was a little too rushed.
Probably because they got rushed for time. Same
Yeah.
thing they did with
well,
Jay and
basically,
Jimmy.
I mean, the skinny of it was basically if you watch, it was basically when they did the finisher, it got kind of effed up, but obviously, again, you wouldn't know unless you legitimately like psychoanalyze. Because personally, I didn't really catch it. Obviously, these amazing, fantastic wrestling YouTubers do, and I tip my hat because, again, we don't always catch it, but these guys, like, they have crews of people to psychoanalyze everything. So, shout out to those guys who really put in the work. So us average, podcasters can really have more information to talk about. So,
True.
um, you know, I think that, these guys put in the work. So, I mean, but so now your second match was Becky and Liv Morgan, which, you know, you don't have to like it, but honestly, Liv Morgan has been speaking her mind for months, you know, and obviously this was the Dominic moment, right? Because, at the tail end of it, you basically had Dom throwing a chair. Like Becky wasn't going to use the chair, dude. Dom, I don't know what broadcast you're watching, Dom, but and basically Liv takes advantage of it. Now, this is the crack in the Judgment Day that we've kind of been slowly analyzing. Um, because you have Liv Morgan basically wanting to take everything from Rhea Ripley, and by
Yep.
the looks of it, this is a small but important segue to um Liv kind of maybe joining Judgment Day. Rhea gets excommunicated, who knows? So
I'm going to say that's not where they're going with this. I think, and this is just part of the whole fantasy booking, just guesstimating, I think this is a setup for Rhea Ripley to destroy Liv Morgan in some way. So Rhea told Dom, go win her over, do your thing, get her into a false sense of security or whatever have you. And when I come back, I'm smash. I'm gonna take that title and I'm gonna just that's just what's going to be it. Now, can they flip it and do some other things, along the way? Yeah, I mean, it could be it could be something that, eventually causes the entire Judgment Day to implode and split up. But I think this is more of a setup because Mommy told Dom to go win her over,
Right.
so she could so
I
she
love your
can
thought
take it.
process.
I totally agree with you.
I love the thought process. I feel like
Yeah.
honestly, you're like our just like think outside of the box and it works. And I think, that does make sense, kind of, bring her in just to bring her down just the same. So,
Yeah, bring
that
her in and
definitely
then to freaking destroy her and break everything that she
right.
had.
Right.
Make her
So,
cry.
however,
Right. Watch me.
right. So we could start thinking about other times when these types of situations have happened, like if we go back to the Evolution era when they celebrated Randy winning that championship and Hunter was like, this is yep,
Mm.
and he gave him two
Yeah.
thumbs down and Batista bombed him, or
I
and they all
mean,
just
yeah.
I mean
Even think of the
it's
shield. The shield. I mean,
yeah.
literally, what's funny is that I seen something the other day was that basically they all won their first championship from each other,
Yep.
Yeah, I think
and so that's that's it's just kind of crazy to really think though. You're like, man, like the shield was going strong for a rough shot for a couple of years
right.
till the
And
turn all happened. So like
yeah,
it's kind of like poetry to have you beat your former shield member for your first title.
I think that there's a formula that WWE uses, and it might be 2 or 3 formulas, but they have like the same outcome. How do
They got a
we
cookbook.
how do we do this and this because we need to get to this point. What does the Bible, or what does the WWE Bible or WWE cookbook say we should do? Oh, let's take this, and let's take this, and the writers have to tell it for a new
Right.
generation. So yeah, that's my take. But also too, according to other internet sources, Becky hasn't re-signed with WWE, and her
Yeah,
current
I've seen
contract,
that too.
is coming up.
Where does
So
that lie?
yeah, so if that has anything to do with it, that also adds to the speculation of why Liv and why now. Maybe Rhea Ripley is making a lot of progress and she can come back early so they can start to develop a storyline for SummerSlam or for Clash at the Castle. So there are a lot of things that we could kind of speculate on why this title change happened there. It could have just been somebody from the country saying, hey, we like the blonde, can
Right.
she
I
win
mean,
a championship? And they're just like, absolutely, you can have whatever you want, thank you for cashing that or writing that check for us.
right.
It could be something along that, we don't know. And the part of this is just being able to kind of just talk freely about the decisions that the big W makes. So
Well, and
you
I mean,
know
we talked last time about, the popularity contest. So, I mean, maybe the story is greater than the champion. And
could be.
so, the Liv Morgan stuff, I feel like, was obviously eventually going to happen. I mean, we all kind of knew eventually, her rants, and they were justifiable rants. They weren't even like they weren't Drew McIntyre rants. You know, I mean, oh my gosh, we could go on a freaking 20-minute conversation on Drew McIntyre, but I digress. Seth does not need to get ramped up. but,
Not right now.
but,
Yes.
no, and I think too is that I think they will oversell the time frame just so when they come back early, they're like, yeah, we worked really hard. And I think that's part of the cookbook too. Like, hey, we're gonna oversell, we're gonna overestimate, because then if they come back early, I mean, think of like when John Cena came back, right? I mean, after that injury, he was mysteriously back for Royal Rumble, right? I mean, and so maybe it's just a lot of, hey, we're gonna say it's gonna take 6 months, but it really only takes like 4 months. Maybe 3 months if you're pushing hard.
you
You
know
know, but I
but
think
yeah.
it's a good lead into, PLEs when you don't know. So like when we're not getting an estimate of time every week or anything. So like when it happens, it's just gonna happen, and it's gonna be more genuine and authentic because they are cleared, they are good to go. So, and I think I definitely think Rhea will put in the work.
Oh, I
I
think so
don't doubt
too.
for 1 second.
Because I've been following her social media on Instagram. Hey, I follow pretty much everybody.
Yeah, life is pretty peachy, man. I know.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
No, it's to say looks like she's been working out and other shit too.
I digress. I
Oh,
mean,
I love
I-
Buddy
I-
Matthews, by the way.
Oh, I love him
You
too.
lucky son of a gun.
uh,
Life is peachy for him. Respect.
yeah. Goodness.
Definitely that
so-
one picture.
Oh, I know I sent it.
I'm just laughing because, yeah,
Life is peachy, man.
Life is peachy. Yeah.
So now we're gonna move across to what I feel like they've been running this back a little bit too much, but so the Intercontinental champion Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable and Bronson Reed. I feel like this was a run back match. And I feel because I think they had it on like I think it was like I forget which on Raw and SmackDown. But you know, they had it on regular TV, and then they basically now it's at a PLE, and again, this, you know, with the Saudi stuff, I think they basically get the matches they want because they pay a lot of money. So I feel like maybe this running this one back, it feels like, because I feel like there was a, you know, Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable and Bronson Reed. Fact check me if you want. And so I feel like this was just a match that Sammy was gonna win. I mean, Sammy clearly is a fan favorite, you know, in Saudi. So I mean, him losing was not gonna happen. Um, I feel like Bronson Reed can get interjected into any storyline and he'll do just fine.
Oh yeah, he's a good wrestler. They just need to
You
push him a
know,
little bit more.
you know, I don't know what Chad Gable's doing, you know, with his whole whatever spewing at Alpha Academy. I feel like I'm just waiting for Otis to just knock his ass out.
I think with WWE, they do take their time building and rebuilding characters, and so there's a clear distinction from, you know, who you should cheer and who you shouldn't. And I think with the Chad Gable, Sami Zayn, I think it will come to a head with those two. It might take another PLE, but it'll be over, and they'll move on to Chad and potentially Otis. Sammy probably will drop the belt to someone like Bronson, maybe even someone like a Braun Breaker. I mean,
I mean,
just
he
to
was
have,
pretty pissed about not being King of the Ring. So I mean,
yeah. I mean, there are a lot of things that they want to do, but they can't just rush it. And we've seen when other promotions rush it, and we've seen when WWE can take their time, what the difference is and how the WWE universe responds to it. So
Right.
I don't mind this running back. I don't mind, because we've been trained to accept it, right? You know, this is still part of the WWE cookbook. You know, it's just what has to be done. You know, they're telling stories. They're telling longer format stories. Yeah, I don't mind it, because I know the payoff will be interesting more so than the journey. You know, it's like, you know, Sammy's defending, he's fighting, he's holding on, he's building his credibility, of why he could be a really good world champion. But it's also building up someone like, you know, a Bronson Reed who should be booked as a monster, because when he does get that world championship,
They just need to stop having the
title,
squash matches though. Like
you know,
I understand that like you're kind of leading this guy into what people don't know, because you know, because again, if you don't watch NXT, you don't know who these guys are. So you're just seeing some guy that's just not so fast, about to break the freaking ropes, But I feel like, they need to, with given, his consistent feuding with management, I feel like they just kind of they need to give him a decent match, and then you can really, really see. Don't put him against Joe Blow or Joe Schmo and be like, yeah, he won in like 3 seconds. Yeah, congratulations. Maybe they should put him on speed. The dude can't,
mean,
but
yeah,
but that would diminish his relevancy, though. You know,
yeah.
S-
Poor
so
Ricochet.
it's one of those things where, I feel like eventually, I would say in the next, let's call it a month and a half, maybe 2 months, Braun Breaker will literally be on regular matches. He'll be getting his come ups, and I think he's gonna. I think honestly, he would be the guy that I think would have a 50 match winning streak. No Goldberg, what was it, like 99 or something like that. But I think they're gonna put him in a thing where he's just gonna win 50 matches straight.
And then
Oh,
he
yeah.
wins his first championship, kind of right off the bat,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, even think of the fact that like when Kevin Owens literally his first night beat John Cena. I mean, I feel like that would have been a good thing for Braun, is to literally come in and just have someone be like, "Oh yeah, open challenge," or whatever, and then come out and beat him. I feel like that would have been a better push than putting him in pussy waffle matches and not have him do anything.
I think we all may have seen like a couple of other WWE podcasters and reporters talk about, how they're booking Braun is similar to how they booked initially Brock Lesnar when he came on SmackDown, where he would just win by referee stoppage, his first few matches. And then, someone said, that don't do that, have and then it stopped. But years later, they're doing that. So again, there's definitely some WWE formulas going on, just to build the credibility and believability of some of the superstars. That's
Right.
just what it is. So I'm not mad about that. I do want to see Braun and Bronson Reed go at it. I do want to see one of those two hold a singles championship within the next few months. By the end of the
Yeah.
summer, maybe by SummerSlam, they get one of those two has a championship. Sammy doesn't need to hold on to stuff very long to still
Well, and I
have
think that
relevancy. So yeah,
I mean,
See,
Gunther's
with the whole Bronson, Bronson. He reminds me of like the way his matches are. Kind of reminds me of when they did with Ryback. They threw him in with some cheap, low life, like crappy wrestlers.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But they slowly moved him up to like CM Punk, John Cena, took him on the big guys.
Right. So kind of a parallel to that one as well then. I mean,
Yep.
so I mean, but you know what? I mean, Ryback ran its course, which, I would never be against bringing him back, but I think he had a lot of issues with management, but
Yeah.
That and some of the other wrestlers
Yeah.
didn't really like him either.
And he's not done
No.
himself any favors outside, but that's a whole nother like
Did he
that's
end
a
up,
rabbit trail we'd get lost in.
Did he end up signing? I don't know if it's true or not. I heard he signed with AEW. Ryback.
That's I don't.
I mean,
I
I feel like those little like meme things, I feel like can be edited in any way, shape, or form to say, hey, this person's all elite. I feel like there's a formula for those little memes, I think, and I don't put much stock in it until I see it.
I do enjoy listening to some of his little broadcasts he has going
Yeah,
on
I mean, he's
TikTok.
yeah, he's a character. I mean, but like, anywho,
Yes.
Back to the
Anywho.
WWE.
Yes.
back from commercial.
Yep.
So now we have Lyra Valkyria versus Nia Jax, which we all knew this was going. Frederick called his shot. Tip
Yeah.
my hat to you, sir. He called it. He said it. It happened.
I think it's great for her. It'll be great for her character if they can build upon something, a good story for her. And a good story is like, I've, earning my you all don't respect me. You just think I'm just this big brute of a human being, hurting people and things like that. I really want her to really play into this and really, present herself as a queen and, and just be dominant. And I would
totally
not,
agree.
yeah, I would not mind her winning a championship.
Yeah, she was
yeah,
she was slowly, when Triple H was standing there, she was definitely breaking character for a couple of seconds there, crying,
yeah.
trying to hold it back, and then she had to like suck it in and go back to her character.
Yep.
Right.
I
Well,
mean,
and
it is, to get that type of, respect and acknowledgement from, the back of the room,
Yeah.
or behind the curtain and your peers and, management. This is like, hey, this run that when we brought you back, yeah, you've put in the work, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. You might not win a championship, but we won't take this away from you. And
No,
well,
so
and
yeah,
in Triple H before King of the Ring basically released that basically, so these King and Queen of the Rings matches had a higher stake than just a crown and a scepter. So
yep.
basically now you have championship implications at SummerSlam, which I think is good in the sense of like, letting it spread out a little bit, let them run roughshod on this whole King and Queen mantra or whatever you want to call it, and then let it kind of play out into SummerSlam when they already know whoever's the champ, I'm facing them. And I think
Yep.
I think Nia will beat whoever. I think she, when if you've given someone the nod to be Queen of the Ring, that is definitely something serious because they've kind of rehashed out how what the King of the Ring used to mean back in the 80s and back in like the 90s, when there was more to it. There was like, hey, this is like the next rung on the ladder of your
Yep.
career. So I feel like this is definitely a situation where now we're not just seeing Nia as, the Annihilator or, whatever it be, and I feel like this will just amplify her character moving forward, and I see her definitely being a champ coming out of SummerSlam, and I feel like maybe this is just a long shot, but I feel like she will hold that title, whatever title it be, till WrestleMania, and
I t-
I feel like that'll be just deserved because she's been doing this wrestling game for a while. Yeah, she left, came back, whatever else, same character. And
Yep.
I feel like
Same attitude.
yeah,
you gotta give the girl her roses, man. I mean,
yep.
she
I think
she's
it's
put up with
yeah.
squash matches, good matches, triple threats, tag team stuff. So, if you look at the length of her career and all she's done, you just gotta give her her respect.
Does this
See, I
mean that Naya is a Triple Crown winner? Like, she's held tag team championships, Queen of the Ring, and singles championships.
she
Is that
has.
Well,
They should.
they won't like the King and the Queen ring doesn't matter in the sense of being a Grand Slam champ.
right?
Basically the Grand Slam stuff is between basically tags and then both brands plus the United States and Intercontinental. Because like that's the one thing that Sheamus doesn't have is the Intercontinental, and I think that would be a good match for Sammy to lose at because then he would be a Triple Crown. Or I mean, he'd
Right.
be a Grand Slam champion.
Back to the
Because
King
when
of the.
they put him on the other show with the United States, and he's like, there's really nothing for him when they drafted him last year, and then now they brought him back to SmackDown, so now he can go after the IC title again. So because
But
Gunther's
even
gone now, and so like, there's not that to worry about. Drew's going after, stuff on Raw, so he doesn't have to worry about Drew. So like, I feel like the road in the ship is clear to go, for
Hold
Sheamus.
on. For Sheamus is actually on Raw.
Is that Raw?
He's on Raw now, where Drew is and the Intercontinental title is.
Oh, I forgot the IC was on Raw.
Yeah,
now.
he's
okay.
yeah. And
My
for
bad.
back to the whole King and Queen thing, I like what Triple H is doing. He's back with the Attitude Era. Whoever won the King of the Ring had a title shot at whatever next pay-per-view or whatever pay-per-view it'll be. I like how he's bringing that back.
So here's my updated take. So, fantasy booking, SummerSlam, Nia, Liv, Rhea, triple threat. Nia walks away with it.
I could get down with that.
Hold up. But she has to go for whatever brand title she's on, and
Right.
Nia Jax is on SmackDown.
Oh,
It'll be Bailey.
Well, shit. Yeah.
She got drafted over to SmackDown.
Okay, so then it's Bailey. Then, well, I mean,
I'll take a triple threat any day of the week. I just think, I think, man, I forgot.
yeah. So, since now that I know where Nia is, whoever has a championship, Nia is going to take it.
Oh, definitely. She's a beast.
And I think
Man.
Charlotte coming back.
I don't care.
And
if Charlotte comes
but
back.
she probably will.
I
think
She'll come back and get a
Charlotte-
title
yeah.
shot.
Immediately, like as soon as Nia gets it, Charlotte's music hits and she's like, I want that. And it was like, I just got this belt. Go away. So
Go
Okay.
go over to Raw.
Okay, this is a
Right.
non-edited rant, and it's very clean cut, no attitude era. But Charlotte Flair, her coming back doesn't mean shit to me. Her coming back is like Mercedes Moné going to AEW. Okay, there's nothing for her. There's nothing for her right now. There's too many things going on. There's too many moving parts. Charlotte coming in is just going to be one of those situations where they hand her a title match again. We've had enough of those. We don't need any more of those handed out. That's the only reason why she has a 14. She's a 14 or 12, whatever time, champion, because she had somebody handed to her, and everybody knows it.
What if
So
the
fact that
rub? What if the rub is her coming back, getting a title shot like pretty immediately, and she doesn't win?
That would be the first.
I don't know which. Hold on, Tim. Check what brand she's on.
She's on
'Cause-
SmackDown.
Yeah,
Is
because
she on
she's not
Smack-
drafted because she was injured.
Yeah,
But-
she's
she's
still on
still on-
SmackDown where her husband is.
Right. So what if that's the case, that she doesn't win? Maybe she goes into a feud with depending with Lia Valkyria, and they can help start building Valkyria up.
So
and
maybe
then
she's back just for the rub.
Yeah,
Because I
which
really don't.
which is great because then they can pair her with Andrade, and then Andrade can have a mouthpiece, and he can be with his wife, and those two can be happy, and we can see what Andrade can do.
Dude, Andrade's masks are insane.
Oh, I love his mask.
Dude,
yeah.
man. And I think that makes a lot of sense, but then it's like, then why bring her back if you're gonna have her do nothing? So like,
why is their roster so big? Half of those guys don't do anything. They're
Yeah.
jobbers, or
yeah,
they're not jobbers, but they are signed so they can't go other places to make other companies more relevant. But I digress. So I think eventually she does come back because she's signed with them,
Charlotte freaking
and
Flair.
she is a draw. So just for people to have someone to be angry with about all their opportunities is fine, because she likes that. her character likes that because you're still talking about her and she's
Yep.
not going anywhere. So I don't see
So
I don't
what
have a problem
about
with her coming back. I don't have a problem with coming back and being not in ring talent.
what if
You know,
she let's fantasy book this.
all
So
right.
what if she comes back to just tag with somebody? And then, I mean, I don't see it happening, but like, if I feel like if she doesn't, succeed singles, like you said, she comes back, let's say wins a triple threat out the gate there, or it was a triple threat and then all of a sudden she's back and then they like, hey, it's a fatal four-way now, right? And she wins and then she loses to said champion and then hypothetically maybe joins someone else as a tag and maybe they feud it with like whoever the tag team titles are on at the time. Or I mean, or what does she do? I mean, if Charlotte Flair loses, it sucks because it's like you have someone as a high caliber as Charlotte Flair. Don't get me wrong, I love her in the sense of a performer. I just we're so moving out of that time frame into the new time frame with a lot of these NXT stars coming up. Your Lyra Valkyria, your Tiffany Stratton. You have the other two like Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Those are just tag teams. Those don't really matter. Um, you have what's her Roxanne Perez. So you have a lot of new talent flowing in, trying to put a name, to them on the main roster. So I think the rub from Charlotte Flair, like you said, would definitely pay dividends. But and I think given where Lyra Valkyria was placed, I feel like she of the two, or well, I guess the three, is having a better chance of getting somewhere. I mean, Tiffany Stratton's been in matches. She's kind of semi feuding with stuff, but like I feel like when you're in the Queen of the Ring of those wrestlers and you just came up and you finished in the finals, I feel like that's a rub in and of its own. So
But there's something to be said about being paired with an established superstar or a veteran to learn those things at a faster pace to get you more acclimated into the system, into the routines, into the hustle, into the grind. So I don't have a problem. Like Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, yeah, let's book that. I would like to see those two work because they have a similar ish like presentation, both very flamboyant, both blondes,
right.
both very uh
Egotistical.
egotistical. Yep, that's a great word to
I think
describe them.
yeah.
Yeah, so I would I think I would enjoy that, but I want to if she was ring ready, but I want
Right.
to give it prefaces if she's ring ready, that could be a placement for her. That, it's like, hey, I need you to be a leader and take these new talents and here's some stories that we have, while we start to slowly pair you with Andrade and getting what does that look like. And if she
Yeah.
gets and if she's not cleared to be in the ring for a while but they want to use her on TV, they can use her as a mouthpiece for Andrade. They could use her as an upstart to disrupt the locker rooms. I mean, we're fantasy booking at this particular juncture.
Well,
So
Andrade doesn't have any
yeah,
loyalty either. So
right.
like
I mean,
he
he
doesn't
is who
have
he
he's not
yeah.
Aldo AO, he's not
Yeah,
Legato. So he's kind of in his own mold
right.
because he can pretty much do anything. Because honestly, like when Andrade came back, I was like, all right, let's go, dude. Because honestly, like the dude looks a hell of a lot more stacked than he did when he was in WWE before. Like
Oh yeah.
the dude put in the work, took a little brief siesta in AEW, and when he came back, like the dude was just like, you know,
He is
so
jacked.
so yeah, I think yeah, I mean honestly, Charlotte Flair being on TV sells.
Mhm.
So, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
She does put asses in the seats.
Yeah. So
I'll be her seat though.
She does sell some good
there
merch.
we go. There's Seth.
Did you hear what I said?
Mhm.
You're like she puts asses in seats, and I said, yeah, I'll be her seat.
And then he
Oh, I heard
repeats.
you.
Okay.
Tim was just
Tim's
saying,
playing
like,
with his lizard, by the way,
no.
or his. I'm probably saying the wrong animal, but
That's a bearded dragon.
yeah. See, just like you, you're a bearded
he keeps,
dragon.
He keeps scratching at the damn tank once out.
Oh well.
We got 2 bearded dragons in the top screen over there.
All right.
So we'll get back to the status quo here. So you have Gunther versus Randy, which by the looks of it has a lot of
It was good.
controversy. But I will say, me and Tim talked about this a little bit before you got on, but
All right.
so I think that it wasn't necessarily botched by the referee. The referee was calling what he was calling. We already knew how it's gonna finish. And this was more of a Randy was in the wrong position. And because obviously they're not gonna have Randy beat Gunther. I mean, there've been such a lead up to Gunther, and obviously like Gunther can go deal with Damian Priest and whatever else. They're not gonna push anything on Cody Rhodes because he's got enough storylines going in 40,000 different directions. Damian's is kind of stagnant. So I mean, he has, they've already kind of booked out practically a month worth of really nothing for Damian Priest until Clash of the Castle when he goes against Drew, and Drew has been essentially cleared now. So we'll probably see Drew in a couple. I wouldn't call them wash matches, but he's a definitive winner matches. In the next couple weeks leading into Clash of the Castle in June.
So getting
Um,
back to the finish of that match, I didn't watch the match. I did see the positioning that Randy was in when the pin came through.
shoulder was in.
So the people want to call it a botch or whatever have you. I think Randy was hurt, and that was the best that he could do with how his body was responding.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
weren't
Well,
gonna. He wasn't gonna Gunther slam him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
his back was probably hurting bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
You could see it in his
yeah.
face.
So the camera angles just happened to catch that,
Right.
his shoulder not being down, and now they're playing into it, which is great. I mean, if Gunther and Randy want to run it back and we get like 2 more really exceptional matches from Randy and Gunther. All right, cool.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
dude,
guess
I'm all
guess
for it, dude.
guess who
Same here.
wins? Everybody. Everybody wins.
Right.
I'm
I'm still waiting for Brock Lesnar and Gunther. So
Yeah, I mean,
I won't hold my breath, but
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
like the ultimate booking in the fantasy world that I think most fans are like,
Well,
okay, we've seen him at
that
Royal
would be a
Rumble.
great
Yeah.
match.
We've seen him stand toe to toe. Like, okay, this shit could be freaking real bad.
Yeah.
Between chops and suplexes, dude. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I would like to. Yeah, I think we all would like to see those two go at it. However, yeah, I'm not anticipating seeing Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah, we're not holding our breath, but
Yeah, again,
fantasy world up there, up in
yep.
the sky somewhere.
Yep. However, getting back to Randy, I really think that going forward, I would like to see a few different move sets from Randy just to protect his back and to protect his
Right.
longevity. So with that being said, I want more from Randy, but I don't want Randy to be hurt.
Yeah, I
That's-
think and maybe having him, you've already kind of seen the cohesion with him and Kevin Owens. Maybe slide him into a tag team for a little bit, give him minimum bumps. And honestly, I wouldn't be against Kevin Owens and Randy Orton being a tag team. I mean, they already got a cool freaking name, anyways. RKO, and they did the RKO show. Like that's money right for the t-shirts. I'll probably buy one. 'Cause
Oh, I
that's
know
just
I will.
Yeah.
because, like, when it was, when it was Riddle and him, with RK Bro, like, there's, like, a lot of the wordplay and some of these people, like, I feel like Team RKO just works. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Because like,
Yeah.
it just comes off the lips just super nice, and I feel like that'd be something super easy to say. You're like, "Who's the champs, Team RKO?"
Yep.
So,
Yeah. I
Look at
up there in the
back in the day when it was rated RKO.
yeah.
Right.
That
I
was a
mean,
good one too.
so
um,
yeah. I mean, that
it's
works for me.
I feel
I
like
don't have
anybody
a
that
problem with that.
anybody with Randy Orton is always a good decision.
Yeah.
I don't know. I I will always and forever love Randy Orton. I honestly like just that you can't tell if he's a heel or face. That's the greatness of Randy Orton is you don't know if he's a heel or a face. Really, you don't.
It depends on how
You
he
know,
wakes up. Yeah.
right?
How he walks
I
into the
mean,
arena. Oh, I stubbed my toe. I hate
well,
all of you.
d-
You know.
do you and you always hear when he does that like off the second rope DDT or whatever, and he'll always yell just random shit and like da da da, and he just and
I
he
love
just
his
yells
faces.
random
He's like,
things. He just yells random things, and it is the greatest. It is
and
the
then
greatest.
he does a lot of like spinning, like.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, but he has such a great gimmick because there's so many angles to it. There's the I hear my voices stuff. There's just the bruteness of it. There's the Viper. There's, the Legend Killer. Like, he has so many mantras that he could pretty much tangle his web into any of those particular names any given moment, right?
Right.
You know, like,
Yeah.
what if he just takes out CM Punk and then he's another Legend Killer? Like, what if he
I
boots freaking CM Punk in the dome piece?
You know what? Book it. Book it. Book it for
Book it,
tonight's
book
Raw.
it. Yeah. Brought to you by BookThatMatch.com.
Yep.
We'll make our own website now.
Yeah.
FantasyBooking.com.
You better get it.
Except for FantasyBooking.com probably would be some kind of inappropriate party we might have to like put
Yep.
booking. Yeah. That's a rabbit trail I will not go down this time. Seth will
Thank you.
contain.
Yeah.
Contain myself.
You say the audience there.
I will
Yes.
contain myself from having to edit myself out for 20 minutes. But anywho, back to the status quo. Back from the 3-hour commercial. So now you have the final match, which was Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul. This was purely for the fans in Saudi. Nothing more, nothing less.
It was a good match. I liked it.
I think the video production was exceptional, was really top notch, especially the aerial camera, drone,
Oh,
whatever
yeah, dude,
they
that was
use for
cool.
that.
That was
Yep.
cool.
I expect to see more of those types of camera angles and camera work in the future. It probably won't be every Raw or SmackDown, but every PLE going forward should have at some point in the night something very cinematic, something that is, that breaks away from the traditional camera angles that we've come to expect from
Well,
pro
they've
wrestling.
been doing that though. Like,
Yeah, they have been.
they've been doing a lot of like the walk through the back of the stage, like onto the
Yeah.
stage. Like
I expect to see more of that. That for that specific thing to become a weekly standard on some show. It
Right.
doesn't matter if it's. I don't think I want to see it on every show, but I would enjoy seeing it once a week. Especially if it
Right.
if it's part of a good story.
Yeah.
Because obviously pro wrestling on television is definitely
They're definitely
different.
pushing the entertainment product of it, like
Yeah.
like not just the wrestling, but just like the the footage that we're able to see now. Are like, hey, guess what? Now they're not shying away from seeing gorilla position.
Right.
Like they're not shying away from that, even on NXT as well. Like NXT is honestly amping up their production value as well, and so we're getting kind of more of a like the whole product as it be versus just okay, they're coming out of the ring. All right, cool. No, now we're seeing a cameraman walk back, backstage, like literally from stage to back of the thing. Oh, there's a fight breaking out. Like, and I think that's just more things in the cookbook of WWE and the things that they can do, and that again, as time goes on and technology and everything else, we're getting more and more production value, and I love it. I really enjoy it. It's kind of cool seeing Gorilla Position. They're just chilling back there, you know. So
I
Yeah.
did like in the Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes' match, they did bring back a move that I can't remember the name of
it's
it.
banned.
It's banned by Vince McMahon, but
The
I'm
Fair
guessing
Breaker or something like that.
yeah, that's a good move, but dangerous move. But I'm kind of glad they're slowly kind of bringing back moves that were banned.
Lawrence is not a pile driver.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
okay. You know,
Long as it sticks with the old Tombstone pile driver, that one's
Yeah.
okay. The one
Yeah.
that Stone Cold got his neck broken, don't bring that one back.
yeah, I'm never gonna be a fan or want to see.
It's the vertebraker.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't want to see if anyone be inverted with their head unprotected, their head and their neck unprotected, taking an impact move. I just no. I think we've
I'm in the
outgrown
same boat
that.
as you.
Yeah.
It's dangerous, dude. You see some of those indie guys, dude. It's like you're gonna kill somebody, dude. Honestly, like I'm all for
Yeah.
the entertainment and the pizzazz, but damn, dude, don't do a move that literally. It's kind of like the same move where they like even when they jump over and then they flip the person over for like kind of like a little power bombish deal, like But that's what the more agile ones like Ricochet and stuff like that are doing. Which
You
the
got
thing
over
is, but like you
Mhm.
know.
you got over in AEW with Jack and whatever the Young Bucks, where they do that freaking move, flip off the ring post into that Tombstone pile driver.
Yeah, Meltzer driver, I
That's just
think.
too
Yeah.
risky. That's too
That
Yeah.
some of
I'm
their
all
moves
for
they do is really dangerous.
Yeah.
it's dude, we if you want longevity in product, you have to have a certain degree of moves that you just don't do.
Yeah.
Really
Agreed.
the only
Yeah.
person that can do the pile driver is the guy who's literally done it the best. And that's it. Literally, Kane and Undertaker, that's it. That's the only guys that can do that freaking move. Because they're experienced, they know how to protect other wrestlers, but obviously they're not here anymore. So I
Yeah.
mean, not in the ring as much,
Yeah.
you know.
I even then no, I just don't.
What was it,
I'm
Owen
not
Hart that
comfortable.
screwed up the pile driver?
Yeah, he's
On
he's the one that Owen Hart's the one that screwed it up on Stone Cold.
I guess
Yeah.
karma's a bitch, I guess, since he hit his neck.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to
I'm
edit that
not
one.
saying I wish. I'm not saying I wish upon it, but I feel like it's kind of ironic that he, how he went. I mean,
Yeah, I watched that pay-per-view.
like that's the thing too is like you have to have a line in the sand of things that you can do and you can't do. It's like AEW is pushing things with the extreme matches, the blood and guts matches. It's gonna get to the point where it's not safe. It's just not safe for the wrestlers. It's not safe for their longevity. And I wish we would just. I don't know, man. I don't. I'm all for pushing the envelope. Let's like the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian and Dudley Boys kind of match. But like, I feel like when it's unsafe, you just need to call it like it is. But
Yeah. And I
I
like
agree.
that. I like
I
that.
agree.
Like there's just moves that you shouldn't do. And then there's moves that with the appropriate training that you can do. And I think with Shane Helms booking that match with Cody and Logan and being able to really teach them and for them to like really put in the work to execute that, I don't have a problem seeing it as a one-off thing, just like when, there's other, other performers that really do a move and they understand it and they have put in the work and they also know and accept the inherited risk of doing said move, but they also know that this isn't a every week thing. This isn't my new finisher, or this is like, it goes in the story. I actually, since we're talking about this really quickly, I do not like Will Ospreay's Hidden Blade, and I
Yeah.
think it should be banned. I
That's
think it looks great, but I think it should be. Don't think it should be a move that's used. I think he could really adopt several other finishers. I really, yeah. Also, I want to ban the Canadian Destroyer.
Agree. I
Petey
I
Williams created a
I,
really great move, and he said that it was more so to be a transitional move, meaning you move from one setup to another, and that move would take you to the next setup. So, but for it to be like this, everyone is doing it, and I'm thinking like, no, I don't. I It's not that I'm overseeing it. I just think that it no longer has the same impact. So yeah, um, more
so
so Will
okay.
Ospreay's Hidden Blade. So the pay per view. um,
I
I'm
think
happy
when you
for
have
Naya.
this,
I'm happy
yeah.
for everyone else. Um, let's just see
So
what Raw
yeah.
gives us.
So let's just quickly as we kind of end this out. But so what are your guys' thoughts on this drawn out QR code stuff, Uncle Howdy, that whole shenanigans? Like I feel like for me, I feel like it has been dragged out, and when it comes, we're gonna be like, all right, well, all right, cool, right? I feel like if they needed, they should be like, stop doing QR codes or something, and have it happen more authentic and more genuinely than like, oh, there's a QR code. Oh, this has a date on it, or this whatever. Like they need to just pull the trigger on the dang thing and let it come and let it be. But I feel like there's just no time. Like it's all an homage to Bray Wyatt, but what is it gonna mean once it's here,
just
right?
say it didn't take Bray Wyatt this long when
Mm,
he was still alive.
so I am not the target market for this at all. I understand that this is a way to build or a way to rebuild the suspension of disbelief and the mystique around professional wrestling, especially in the West. Um, because elsewhere on the planet, it's treated as a sport. You really don't need this. You have the athleticism that really tells the stories. In the West, it's very theatrical. So for me, again, I'm not the target audience for this. I also don't want to see it go away. I think the journey will probably be much better than the payoff, the
Hmm.
destination to it. I think this will be something very theatrical, very dramatic, but it's going to lose its luster very quickly. I would not be surprised after the first month, people are over it. It has to be very dramatic, and then it has to play into something that is a special event, kind of like when the Undertaker would show up towards the end of his career. It has to be something like that. Now, the B players in this whole, Wyatt Six, Uncle Howdy story,
It's a good
they could be,
homage story, but
yeah,
when it
they
comes,
could,
what is it gonna
yeah,
be?
they could be like they could be like just back to their wrestling, personas and telling those stories, but when it's time to tell like this really big macabre type story where they want to, I don't know, make Uncle Howdy a champion or something like that, or something really bad happens by like the Judgment Day, for example, they want to do like a big run in on them or whatever have you. It shouldn't be something along the lines where every week we're treated to an Uncle Howdy thing. I think they should really treat it as something that's pretty special when they want to tell a specific story. Other than that, yeah, well, whatevs. I mean, go scan your
Yeah,
QR
I mean,
codes.
it's just becoming so monotonous with all these QR codes. And now, like, just kind of seeing there was like someone in like the 2K game or something now too, and it's just like it's getting it's more about the story than the destination. Because when they come, what is it? I mean, you have Dexter Loomis, Joe Gacy, you have not Nikki Cross, Eric Rowan, and then Bo Dallas's Uncle Howdy. And so my thing is that like, what is it beyond this? Because like when Bray Wyatt had his group, they were there as their group, and they were still wrestling characters. But like with the amount of characters with like Huskus the Pig and the other million, they're like 4 or 5, Sister Abigail. Like, what are these characters gonna mean in real time? Like, what are they gonna mean when they're outside of Bray Wyatt's mind, essentially, and when they're in a ring? What does that mean? What's the storyline moving forward? Because I'm just lost at this point with this whole QR code thing. It's it's getting dragged out so bad that I just watch Raw and SmackDown and PLEs, and I just don't even care to even do no scanning crap.
I don't
You
either.
know,
I don't scan them, but I do enjoy his promo videos he does on YouTube.
yeah. And I think it's more about production than product. I mean, it's to the point where we're like, when are you
I'm ready.
coming?
I'm ready for it to be here.
Right. I just
They
want it
might
to be here.
Yep,
it
mid-June,
might
I
they
guess.
might maybe push it to SummerSlam or maybe a
No,
little.
no, no.
If they
It
go
wouldn't
that far
survive.
out,
It wouldn't
fuck my
survive.
life, dude.
Yeah.
This thing's been going on for like 6 months, dude. It's
Fine, the Clash of the Castle.
my gosh.
It's mid-June. It's mid-June. I
It has
think
to
I
be.
heard
It has to be. I said
I
like
heard on some
June.
other
The
17th.
shirt,
Yeah, June
yeah.
17th or
The
something. Yeah. So
the shirt release that I got for the Cave Bird, it said like June 12th. And June 12th, let's see. June 12th is a Wednesday, so it's so yeah, that's in the middle of nothing. So I don't even know. The thing needs to get here. Let it be. Let it run its course. Pay the homage and get the fuck out. I don't know. It's like I want to just go back to just OG wrestling and just let it ride. Let the stories play out. We don't need a non-existent group of people that aren't here yet to continue to put up 30,000 QR codes and make me interested. I'm not. I'm lost.
right.
Like a feather in a whirlwind, as I was told once by an old coworker. But we'll tie the knot here. We've wrapped it in a bow. We'll see what happens on Monday night. Or Monday night, it is Monday. Damn week. See what happens here on Raw. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.